or not. There we go. The 1 second lag.
I know.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Margaret Pernard, and you're on BookTube, so welcome. I will just gesture over here to the well-known, locally famous internet sensation, Shanon of Huston. So go ahead and tell us what your channel features, Shanon.
I feel like I need some music now with what you just said. So, hello everyone, I'm Shanon, writing under the pen name of Huston, author of the Clash of Goddesses series, which is a YA fantasy, now writing a fantasy romance series on my channel it's also named Huston. I publish content about my writing and self-publishing journey and do a lot of sprints, especially productivity and accountability sprints. I also am part of the Self-Publishing Tips and Tricks podcast with my co-host, author Morgan Lee, and been picked from Running to Write, and one half of the AuthorTube writing conference duo with Margaret Pernard. So
there we go. There's my fake sign language for AWC. Yay. So Shanon is AuthorTuber extraordinaire. And because she doesn't usually review books on her channel as a reader, she's over here on my channel because I sort of straddled the jump for both, and I'm running a readathon, the Black AuthorTuber readathon, to read books by Black AuthorTubers and support their works. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Let me pop this up here. The book we both read about a week ago was Willed to a Dom by Deidre-Ann Anderson. So there we go. Shannon's got it on her phone. I have this special middle of the screen. So there we go. Not my usual, because Buddy Read, you have to put it in a different place. So there we go. Nice little cover there. It will definitely give you a hint as to the steaminess of the novel. But let me just run down the beginning spoiler-free portion of our Buddy Read discussion, which is going to be reading the hook and just asking, why did we choose this one? Because Deidre's got actually a good handful of novels, novellas, short fiction to choose from. So if you're tuning in to see what her work is like, I think there's a lot of different variety. So this is just one piece that we're going to be covering today. So Willed to a Dom is, looking at the Amazon page to get it right, a BWWM BDSM, so a lot of letters, will come back to that, romance or a nightcap novella. And so, it's a novella, it's a short novel, and it's part of a series. I think there's a trilogy of these nightcap novellas. It's in the BDSM universe, which I had to look up to make sure I knew what it meant. And it stands for, I just forgot this. I wrote it down. Let's see. The D is either dominance or discipline. The S is submission or sadism. The M is masochism. B, I'm blanking on. Can you help me out, Shanon?
I don't remember what the B is either.
Bondage. There we go. Bondage.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So I'm not sure why they have two possibilities, but dominance and submission is sort of a dynamic that can play out with a sexual, intimate relationship, and discipline and sadism and masochism are just kinks, I think, that people are drawn to and can be put in as a trope in a romance. And so that's what we dived into. For me, this was completely new, so we're going to be talking about this. I may get read. I may be read already. This is fine. We're rolling out something new. It's good. It's good. So why did we pick this one up? And I'll let Shanon go first for that.
Oh, no. Yeah, so I like supporting the Black AuthorTube readathon, and I was part of it last year, but I don't review fiction books on my channel. I am going to be reviewing some nonfiction books coming up, but I haven't reviewed any fiction books. And so I don't want to read anything on my own. I want to read it with someone else. And so I was just looking through the titles and trying to figure out who else was signed up and who I could go with. And I was actually on a stream. I was in the chat like 2 or 3 Sundays ago now. Sako to me and RC. I think it was on RC Scott's channel. I think. Pretty sure it was on his channel, and Sako Toomey was on, and they got into talking about BDSM and what they knew about the community. So I think it was already primed, and then I had went to the list right after that and saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll sign up with Margaret on this one.
Yeah, it's always nice to read a book and talk about it with another person to sort of get more out of the book than you would on your own. So Rachel is here as well. Good morning again. And Leslie is here. Good morning. So welcome to the folks in the chat. Happy to have you. I chose this book. So basically what I did for the spreadsheet is put people's names on and just started putting random books of theirs that I thought would be fun ones, but actually encouraged people to put whatever they wanted to, add it to the list. You can put multiple books of the same author on there. That is the link to the spreadsheet. And trying to do multiple people in a month means that I was like sort of looking for shorter work for more people. And so this qualified, and the fact that it was like BDSM meant that it wasn't going to get too like in the weeds and like be too much for me to start with and get overwhelming. So I was like, this seems like a perfect, and it was entree into like a BDSM tale to see what it's kind of about. And hi, Bunny. Welcome,
Yeah.
Bunny.
I think it was a good book for someone to read who may not know about the community, because it had a lot of definitions about things. So,
So just like your normal situation where you're going to be world building, you have a character who isn't part of the world who's introduced to it, so that you have an excuse to work in, oh, this is what the definition is, and this is how we're going to get you comfortable, and this are the boundaries, and like healthy things, which I really appreciated. Let's see. I didn't pop this in yet, so it's in the description, but let me just put in Deidre's channel. She's a newbie-ish to the AuthorTube space, so I'm just popping in her subscription name into the chat.
And she will be on my channel tomorrow to talk about writing and marketing romance.
Yay! Awesome. Awesome. And I'll grab that link when you're talking next time, because I should have had that ready. The romance panel is very exciting. Okay, how about tropes that we found in this book that may be people's bag, or like maybe something that they are not into? Inheritance was one. So like it felt very familiar in terms of a romance setup. There's an inheritance and impossible inclusion when a father dies, that you have to do this thing.
Which was sort of led into like the forced marriage.
There you go. Yep. Forced marriage / fake dating. I called it fake dating because they sort of agreed to pretend and get married, and in order to like satisfy the terms of the will and do all that. And then I also put secrets. That's not a spoiler. We're still in the spoiler-free portion, but there are secrets that come to light that make for like an interesting twist. So that was great. Anything else that was like something of a familiar romance thing, because you're more in the romance genre research at the moment?
I don't think this book fell into any of the tropes that I've been really drawn to in researching myself. But I would say probably the term that was given to it, BWWM, is its own trope. So,
okay. And we are pretty sure that means Black woman, white male.
Yeah.
So sort of like interracial romance.
Yeah.
Different from Black romance, but I've read a Black romance this month, and I've read an interracial romance this month. And there are some definite people who fall into either camp. They like which one, different ones better. So I tried both. And so, yeah, just to know that that's out there. What about steam level? How did you find the steam level?
Yeah, it was pretty spicy.
Yeah. All right.
Steam level is something I'm bringing into the conversation tomorrow on the romance panel, because I haven't found like a very good definition of what steam level means what. So, and there are different names given to it: spice, steam, peppers.
Yeah. I've seen people do like chili pepper and left up to 5. Yeah. And people have definitely used a booktube to explain their rating system, like what they mean from 1 to 5 stars. I don't think I've seen anyone do like chili peppers 1 to 5 or like steam level. I kind of tried to do like from ice water to fogged up mirrors in the bathroom, but there's like, I don't know what the stops are in between. So like, I don't have a system of my own.
Some do it. When I was at the 20 Books 50K conference, I took a lot of romance meetings. And in one, I did ask, I was like, can you explain to me what you think of steam levels? And they're like, 1 pepper means this, and 2 peppers mean that. And another lady's like, well, I thought 2 peppers meant this. And there was just so much back and forth. I was like, okay, whatever. I couldn't get a clear answer on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like sussing out what people meant by first base and second base. And you're like, what is that? What does that even mean growing up? You know, like you didn't want to really ask. Yeah. And I run the gamut. So in addition to like interracial versus Black romance. There's also sweet romance, which I read plenty of, and spicy, steamy romance, which I also read. So I like both. They just have very different vibes, and sometimes I just want one over the other. So yeah. Yeah, I definitely said Fogged Up Mirrors for this one. So
yeah. I would agree.
My only experience, so my only other reading BDSM books experience was with Jenna Gordon's Sway trilogy, and that was like a sex positive woman escapes to a retreat where she can do all these like experimental sex play stuff and really sort of finds herself again, which was lovely. So I rated that highly as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that as a link. But what about like anything that you could compare this to? Does anything pop up for you?
I've never gone on my way to read about BDSM, but I had a neighbor who kept putting in my hands. I kept giving it back. And then she just said, "You're keeping this and you're reading it," which was 50 Shades of Grey. And that was not the best representation of the community.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't even read it, but I heard about the representation. So it's kind of like filtered meta level of like, yeah, that's not going to be for me. I'm okay staying away from that. But good positive thing is Jenna Gordon. So I've put that in the chat. Emma popping by, cooking dinner. Hello, Emma Bennett. And Bonnie had said a video on defining steam levels would be amazing. So yes, very good point. Let's see.
We are going to talk about steam levels during our romance panel tomorrow. I asked everyone that question, like, you know, what levels do they consider what?
Oh, nice. To prepare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which Emma is going to be, Emma Bennett is also going to be on with us tomorrow.
You want to tell us who's going to be on while I grab the link for that?
Sure. So we have Ashley Emma, who is a USA Today bestselling author of Amish romance. And I'm trying to remember all the names. So we got Emma Bennett, also known as Laura, and she is the author of romance.
A lot.
Yeah. And we also have Deidre-Ann Anderson, J.O. Lambo is also known to us as Joanne, and Esther Marie. I don't know how you say her last name. I've heard it, but I can't recall how to say it.
And Duhar.
Okay. Yes. And she is the author of paranormal romance through Kindlevella. So everyone has published and probably has in some way or another marketed their romance. And so I am picking their brains on different things like steam levels. And I would say that the majority of our panel are clean. I know that's not like a term that people like very well. But it is a term that keeps getting thrown around every single time I talk to an author who is writing in that genre. So they consider themselves clean writers or sweet romance. And I'm also curious, I didn't put this question out to them, and if we have time, I'll bring it up, but I don't know if we'll have time, but the difference between clean and sweet. So I've been going back and forth with this. All right, that's right. Miss Page, if you guys have seen Miss Page, she's also going to be on there. And I asked Elaine Canyon to be on, and she is not yet published, but about to start publishing in clean fantasy romance. And she said clean and sweet. And I told her, yeah, I go back and forth. Like, what? I could probably rate clean, but not sweet. And I feel like clean and sweet are often paired together. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I have a lot of issues. So I don't know if I'll bring that up yet or not, but Elaine ended up not being able to join the panel because they got into a car accident. And her car is actually going to the shop that day. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So that is the link for the live tomorrow where Deidre will be on. And just to respond to your point, I do read sweet romance. And one of my favorite romance authors is Mimi Matthews, who writes historical romance. And what I love about it, because there's not like the steamy scenes to like get you excited, what I love about it instead is that it focuses on the emotional processing, sometimes of both sides, sometimes just one, of each character sort of trying to communicate with the person who's the love interest and either doubting themselves and conquering that, or, you know, selling themselves short, or a misunderstanding, even though that's not my favorite, but like other things. And it's a happy ever after, because that's what you get out of a romance at the end, ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Yes. HEA forever. And this one, what's that?
The HFN.
Happy for now. Yes, that also works. That also works. And that's definitely what this falls into. So now let me pop up the little spoiler portion here so we can go into a little bit more detail. Obviously, it's going to be a happy ever after / happy for now. But what about favorite character, favorite relationship, favorite scene? Anything pop up for you there for Willed to Adam?
Well, I have to say, I think it was.
Sorry.
Cover yourself with a muscle man.
Yeah.
This was a novella. It was very short. So we didn't have a lot of time to get into depth with characters. And there were, I think, pretty large casts for a novella. I mean, it wasn't huge, but you had the two main characters, the love interest, the FMC and the MMC. And then they both had their friends and another brother out there. I would say my least favorite would have been the brother Ian Daniels. He's my least favorite. I don't know if I really have a main favorite. I like Zoe and I didn't like Zoe, who was our main character. So I liked it when she was being feisty.
Yeah.
But then there were parts where it just felt like she was too, I don't know what the right word is. Not demure, but I don't know.
Submissive.
Well, I mean, obviously she was a submissive.
Yeah.
Yes. But I guess maybe because I could go into more terms. I guess I like bratty submissives more than I like submissives.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. She seemed to push the envelope, but like in a way that obeyed the rules and sort of fit with the parameters that we were expecting. Yeah. I liked it. I highlighted one of the sections early on that was like in her head, sort of like fighting with herself, and how like she usually, overthinks this, and she's like talking herself down from falling for this guy who's really hot and happens to fall into her way. And like, I was like, oh, this sounds so familiar.
Yeah, she says, I wrote that part down actually. She says that she has an obsessive personality.
Yeah.
And she went 3 years without having a relationship, but I think 3 years without any contact with another human being would be obsessive about someone that's good looking and coming into your life and being forced upon you in some ways so that you can keep your business.
Right. So that's actually the passage that I highlighted when she was talking about 3 years and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So nice to know that there was like that shining example of funny self-talk that we both liked.
Yeah.
So I would say it's very familiar in terms of like the problems that the heroine has and that she conquers and that they get together at the end. There's also sort of very pure tropes going on in terms of the inheritance and in terms of like secret family members and in terms of trying to put her career first, but like trying to have love as well. It's like a very classic sort of familiar theme. And yeah, like you were saying, it could have been a lot more developed if it was longer, but it's a novella. So we had to like shorten some of the experiences, which is sort of to be expected.
Yeah.
I didn't put this in any of the preparation stuff. Did you look at any of her other work that like goes in a different direction that made you curious? I might pop over there and like.
I know she has another series, and I haven't actually read any of it, but I looked at it, and she has another series where I think there's 3 in the series, and I didn't look to see how they are marketed, but she has a trilogy that she put all those together into a trilogy box set, and it says the clean version. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she's got A Billionaire Romance, Consumed by Heat. She's got a Kindle Vella, Her Accidental Husband, which we heard about. She's got a cookbook, Jamaican Juice Cookbook. She's got Descent, which I'm not sure. Just goes in like a different direction, but also looks like fiction. You know what I forgot to do at the beginning of this is read her bio. I suppose I should do that. Deidre-Ann Anderson is a Jamaican author and full-time freelance writer who firmly believes that with hard work and dedication, anyone can make a living from what they enjoy. She's been a storyteller for most of her life and cannot wait to share all the rigorous love stories of the characters living in her head, which I thought was a delightful bio. But yeah, she's got lots of books up, so very impressive and variety to choose from. So
yeah, the one I was seeing, it was in the beginning of the ebook, and it has Consumed by Heat. So it's 3 books in a trilogy, and then she puts them all together called Falling for Heat, clean version of the trilogy.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Folly versus Consumed. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Delightful. I mean, I went through it in a day and enjoyed it. It was a good romance, satisfied a romance craving. Um, da, 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 da. Plotting, pacing was good. Yeah, all in all, like good book to pick up for a nice February romance read, and expose myself to a little something new. If anyone has any questions in the chat, or Shannon, if you had any like other things to bring up or like thoughts you had about Willed to a Dom.
I think I kind of said it, maybe to behind the scenes. I would have liked this a bit more than a novella to kind of get more of the character. And I do feel that it's a plot point or a beat in romance where they walk away from each other, right? And like, I don't remember what it's called. It has a name where they walk away from each other. And that happens right when she finds out that Ian, the secret brother, a secret family member, could, give up his half or his portion of the inheritance, and they can both keep their business and not have to get married. And she gets mad at Kyle. She gets mad at Kyle and leaves. So that's where they're, walk away from each other. And it's not a very big jump from walk away from each other and then they got over and they're back together in the next scene. And so I would have liked a little bit more in there to see her grow a little bit more. That would have been my thought. But yeah. But it was not because there was anything bad about the story. It's more, I wanted more of the story.
Right. Extended tension for a little bit longer. So you're like dangling and can like enjoy that satisfaction at the end that much more. Yeah. I like that. For me, the twist in the scene where Ian, the brother, comes in and is drunk and does the reveal and only partially reveals and she won't listen to like hear him out. It was like, okay, this is another like pure, you don't hear, it's almost like an eavesdropping thing where you're only hearing part of the story and that creates the conflict sort of artificially. And then you come in with the save the story because they're both good people. It was fine. Yeah. I went right along with it. Oh, there we go. Is it the third act breakup?
I mean, I've been hearing that term recently because there's a lot of flack against third act breakups recently. Hold on, I can find it if you want to talk. I will pull up the actual beat.
Okay. And then in the meantime, Bonnie had a question about the line when it goes from consent to abuse and dominance. And can the consent be right for abuse with this genre? The genre confuses me and the line is so blurry. So yes, I feel like we touched on this a little bit with 50 Shades of Grey not being a great example of healthy BDSM. And from my very beginner viewpoint, I feel like what I put in my review for this on Amazon is that this is sweet, sexy, and safe because the dom in the relationship explains to the sub what it means, what the boundaries are, what the rules are, and why it's attractive, and like asks for consent for all the things to be done to like take her into this safely. And that seemed like healthy boundaries to me. Yeah. And when she does like the bratty thing in their play, like he what is it, conforms to the rules and reacts a certain way, but then she also sort of adapts as she goes and gets more savvy with like how she can play with it and enjoy it, which seemed to be a good modeling of the interaction for me, if that makes sense, if I'm like talking around it without actually using the term.
It was, a lot of it was in his point of view when it came to the actual play. And so he was doing things and thinking, okay, is she gonna be okay with this? And he did little things to remind her he's there. He's, it's all about the play. I remember one scene when he was first, I don't remember what he was doing to her, but he was like, saying what he was saying, being the dominant, but he was, rubbing her hand with his thumb to, remind her this is all play. You can say whenever we need to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good sensual detail, like woven in with the whole like overarching theme. Yeah. BDSM stuff.
So I did find it. It's called the retreat beat, which does happen so the romancing the beat, they break it down into 4 sections instead of 3 acts is 4. So it's in the 3rd section. And then the last part of the book then is, coming back and trying to figure out everything. So there's more in those beats than what we got into the novella, but it is a novella. So, it was expected.
Gotcha. All right. Good to learn the terms for like a specific genre. Yay! Deidre is here. Dropping by to say, hey, loving the honest feedback. Look forward to any questions y'all may have tomorrow in the romance Q&A. Yes, we rock that. Sweet. So I'll bring the spoiler thing down here. Upcoming, as we round out our standalone review of Willed to a Dom, events upcoming for you, Shannon, include tomorrow's panel, obviously. It's February 10th. So is there something coming up like off season or?
Well, we still have the self-publishing tips and tricks is still going.
Okay.
So we have our next episode coming out the 15th, but on the 14th, I'll be on Esther's channel doing a romance writers room.
Oh, nice. Yes. She just announced that. It's on my watch later list. Very good.
So that's on the 14th. And then that is Tuesday. On the 16th, I'll be on Martin's channel. We're discussing, hold on, I put these over here. We're discussing Honors Reserve, which is part of the Black AuthorTuber readathon.
Nice.
Then the 26th,
right?
This is, space opera. Yeah. Cool. And then on the 26th with Esther, I am back on her channel probably and doing Culinary Confessions by Joanne Lambo. And then I was talking with Beth Ann this morning. I think we're going to do the talk about Morgan's second book in her series, Seed Among the Rocks. We're going to be doing it probably in March.
Cool. So good deal. Good deal. Sweet. I have a couple things. It's a busy weekend for me. So tomorrow I have, where did it go? Here we go. Tomorrow is AuthorTubers host karaoke on my channel. JC told me she was warming up in special preparation for the love song edition. So hopefully that will bring a big crowd. I'm very excited. I've got 3 songs picked out and it's centering on the 70s era of love songs. So hopefully that will be a crowd hit. And Sunday I guess I put it in banners. No, where did I put it? Sunday, I have Sonnet MAD LIBS with Martha Jones of Self-Righteousness. So we did this last year. Martha came up with Shakespeare's love sonnets to honor Valentine's Day and turned it into Mad Libs, which means taking parts of speech out, getting crowdsourced parts of speech for those spaces, and putting it in for a wonderful comedic effect. So check that out on my channel Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific for some raucous Shakespearean fun. But that is it for us today. Happy Friday. A lot of you have already done all your productivity moves. So, pat yourself on the back, go get some self-care in there. And we'll see you tomorrow on Shannon's channel and hopefully for karaoke. Yeah. So thanks for coming, everybody, and watching. And we'll see you again soon. Bye,
everyone.